Hi, I wanted to make this video about people and Suboxone and people who are addicted to opioid full agonists. I've read a lot of information on the internet, and I've seen a lot of these videos that have been posted, and there's a lot of misinformation in regards to the medication buprenorphine or Suboxone. In my opinion, and through what I've seen, Suboxone has been quite useful in helping opiate addicts get clean. It's also saved a lot of people's lives. If we look at buprenorphine, the active ingredient in Suboxone, which Suboxone is naloxone and buprenorphine, buprenorphine has a high affinity for the mu receptor, which is the opioid receptor within the brain that is most responsible for the euphoric effects that you feel from opiates. Well, what happens is that when you take Suboxone, Suboxone attaches very strongly to that mu receptor. Thus is why you have to be off all other full opiates, or else the buprenorphine will come in and it's so strong on that mu receptor that obviously it's going to remove the full opiate agonist from that receptor site, and since buprenorphine fires at a smaller rate than what a full opiate agonist would, you're going to go into withdrawal. But here's my feeling on buprenorphine. Statistics show us that most patients who are on buprenorphine long-term usage are able to live normal lives. Relapse is very small. Like I said, since the affinity with buprenorphine to the mu receptor is so strong, other opiates aren't going to be able to come in and take off the buprenorphine from the opioid receptor site. So thus not allowing you to utilize other opiates, keeping you clean. I totally agree with 12-step programs and going to NA as frequently as possible, because these types of groups give you the skills that you need to be able to cope with your addiction and maintain it. Since addiction is a disease, I like to equate it to diabetes. And some people with diabetes have a much more progressed form of diabetes. They have insulin resistance, and they have to take more insulin to receive the same effects. And, you know, some people who are addicted to opiates, they can be treated in a minimally invasive way. Other opiate addicts have been using for much longer and much higher doses, and it's just a safer option to utilize the buprenorphine in this situation. And I don't know, a lot of people tend to say that buprenorphine is addictive. Well, this simply is not true if it is prescribed under the guidance of a physician, knowledgeable in its usage. Just because the physician is certified to prescribe the medication under the Data 2000 waiver does not mean that the physician is knowledgeable on the utilization of the drug. A lot of doctors have misconceptions that they can't prescribe Subutex because it is buprenorphine alone. But if you look at it, Suboxone, which has naloxone and buprenorphine, the naloxone has a very, very small bioavailability sublingually or by mouth. So it's literally not going to do anything. The only reason that they added naloxone to the medication is in order to deter intravenous usage. So, that being said, someone who's struggling and having a really hard time with their addiction and is not in the right place in their life to be able to discontinue the medication, I believe that buprenorphine or Subutex, Suboxone, whatever form that you get it in and that your physician is comfortable in prescribing, I believe that the long-term usage of this medication is absolutely imperative. I recommend that you don't use the drug any less than 1 to 2 years, because you need to go through those full 12 steps of your program to learn how to deal with your addiction. And you know, we would not advise somebody with diabetes to quit taking their insulin, because what would happen? It would kill them. It's the same thing with an opiate addict. In the end, the result is going to be death, because you're going to either overdose or you're going to go to jail or something of that nature. A lot of people say that it's addictive because after long-term usage of the medication, you become dependent and then you have withdrawals afterwards. You have to look at this very closely. Dependence and addiction are not the same thing. Addiction and tolerance and dependence, those are not the same thing. They're all different words, and a lot of people get that misconstrued, and there's a misinformation there. Dependence is developed when you are on a chemical or substance for a long period of time. Your brain, its neurochemistry, it is altered because of the long-term usage of the medication. So when you abruptly discontinue the medication, you develop what's called a withdrawal syndrome. Withdrawal syndrome, just because you're going through that, does not mean that you're addicted. And it's very difficult to become addicted to Suboxone, because once you reach the ceiling effect of buprenorphine or Suboxone, you no longer feel the euphoric effects that you would feel with a full opiate agonist, because they don't have a ceiling effect. So you can continue to take the drug more and more and more and more and keep getting more euphoria. That doesn't happen with Suboxone. Once you hit the ceiling effect, and the way that works is, in the beginning, yes, you're going to feel the opiate effects, but once you reach approximately 32 milligrams, a little bit less sometimes, the ceiling effect of the medication is going to happen, which means your brain is not going to realize the difference of an escalation in dosage. So you can take more and more all you want to, but it's maxed out on the euphoric effect. So how can you become addicted to a medication that you receive no euphoria from? But since it's giving you some opiate effects, even though you don't feel them, it is suppressing the cravings that you're having. It deals with some of the musculoskeletal pain and anatomic pain that you may go through. If you have like chronic pain syndromes and things of that nature, it will help those. And I believe that Suboxone is such a great drug to use to really help opiate addicts. I myself have been an opiate addict for years, and Suboxone saved my life. And I've seen numerous patients who have saved their lives as well through the utilization of Suboxone and buprenorphine. Yes, discontinuing buprenorphine, especially under the guidance of a physician who is not well adept at discontinuing the medication, can be very difficult because of the post-acute withdrawal syndrome. And there's a way to discontinue it that is correctly, that is not going to give you these bad post-acute withdrawals. Because the half-life of buprenorphine is so long, it takes a lot longer for the withdrawal syndrome to develop. And, you know, if you find a physician who is well adept in the utilization of buprenorphine and Suboxone, generally they can discontinue the drug. But you have to realize that this is a subjective thing, that it varies from patient to patient, and only when the patient is ready to discontinue the medication, which should be made in part of a full treatment regimen, not just because you think you're ready. It needs to be made a part by your physician, by your counselor. You need to be attending meetings often, frequently. Your sponsor, all of them, they make up your treatment team. And when the decision comes together between all of them to discontinue the drug, your life is in order, things are going well for you, and you are emotionally stable, then and only then should you start to consider and contemplate the discontinuation of treatment utilizing Suboxone. So I hope that this video has shed some light on some things and some misinformation that has been passed along through YouTube, through various doctors who have these credentials and think that they know what they're talking about, but in actuality they only know a portion of some of the things. Under the Data 2000, which was developed by the federal government in order to prescribe Schedule 4 through 3 drugs, you're only required to take an 8-hour course on the utilization of this medication and so forth. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the physician really knows a lot about the drug. Feel free to message me about any questions you may have. I will try to answer them the best that I can. Another really good place for information is Suboxonetoxone.com by Dr. Jeffrey Junig. He's very knowledgeable on the medication, and I fully support him in what he is doing. And like I said, I hope this video has helped you, and feel free to ask me any question that you'd like, and I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you for listening.